was a chilly December evening, the kind where the snowflakes drift lazily from the sky, painting the city in a serene white glow, making even the harshest streetlights look soft and inviting. Emma tightened the scarf around her neck as she walked down the crowded streets, her breath forming little clouds in the cold night air. She had never been one for blind dates, but her best friend had insisted that this one was different, claiming that the man waiting for her at the little Christmas-themed cafe downtown was practically perfect. Emma had tried to smile at the thought as she passed shop windows adorned with glittering lights and artificial snow, but a quiet anxiety twisted in her stomach. She had been rejected before, more times than she cared to count, and the memory of those dismissals clung to her like the icy wind. Still, something about tonight felt different, or at least she told herself it did. Perhaps it was the warmth of the season, the twinkle of lights reflecting off every surface, or the faint scent of cinnamon and pine that seemed to follow her wherever she walked. She stepped into the cafe, the bell above the door jingling as she entered, and immediately felt the contrast between the cold outside and the warmth inside. The place was cozy, every table decorated with tiny Christmas trees, miniature ornaments, and flickering candles that cast gentle shadows across the faces of the patrons. She scanned the room, looking for the man her friend had so enthusiastically described. But the tables seemed already filled with couples laughing over hot cocoa, friends exchanging gifts, families sharing stories. Her heart sank slightly, the familiar pang of disappointment settling in. She had hoped, perhaps foolishly, that someone had been waiting for her at the door, smiling, holding a bouquet of flowers, ready to make this night magical. Instead, she found herself awkwardly clutching her purse, unsure where to sit. Finally, she chose a table near the window, where the streetlights reflected off the frosted glass, giving her the illusion of being wrapped in a soft, glowing cocoon. She ordered a peppermint latte, the familiar aroma bringing a small sense of comfort, and settled in to wait. Minutes passed, the warmth of the cafe and the soft hum of holiday music failing to ease the nervous tension in her chest. And then, finally, a man approached, tall and well-dressed, his smile polite but distant. "Emma?" he asked, his voice courteous but lacking any spark of genuine excitement. She nodded, rising to greet him, and for a brief moment she allowed herself a flicker of hope. Perhaps this time would be different. They sat, ordered their meals, and began the ritual of small talk. Careful, measured conversation that danced around their lives without truly touching the heart of who they were. He spoke of his job, his hobbies, his love of travel, and she responded politely, offering glimpses of her own life while keeping the deeper parts hidden, shielded by years of rejection and hurt. As the minutes turned into an hour, Emma felt a growing sense of unease. His eyes never truly lit up when he looked at her. His laughter felt rehearsed, as if he were performing a role rather than genuinely engaging with her. She tried to shake off the discomfort, reminding herself that not every connection was instantaneous, that perhaps he simply needed time to open up. But as the evening wore on, the polite smiles and empty conversation began to feel hollow, the magic of the season seeming to slip further out of reach. Finally, as dessert was served, a delicate slice of peppermint cheesecake with a drizzle of chocolate, he set down his fork and looked at her with a seriousness that made her stomach tighten. "Emma, I think you're wonderful, but I don't feel the connection I'm looking for. I don't think this is going to work," he said, his words careful but firm. Emma's heart sank, a bitter taste filling her mouth as she forced a polite nod. "I understand," she whispered, trying to keep her voice steady despite the ache twisting in her chest. He smiled politely, stood and left, leaving her alone at the table, her dreams of a magical Christmas evening evaporating like steam from her cold latte. She stared down at the untouched dessert, the cozy warmth of the cafe now feeling suffocating, and for the first time in a long while, allowed herself to feel the full weight of loneliness. As she sat there, staring at the twinkling lights outside the window, a small voice interrupted her thoughts. "Hi," it said softly. Emma looked up to see a little girl standing beside the table, no more than 6 or 7, with wide eyes and rosy cheeks, holding a small stuffed reindeer. "Are you alone?" the girl asked, her voice a mixture of curiosity and concern. Emma nodded, a faint smile tugging at her lips despite the sting of rejection. "Yes, I am," she replied gently. The girl's eyes widened, and she looked as though she had made an important decision. "Can you be my new mom?" she asked, her voice earnest, without a hint of hesitation. Emma blinked, taken aback, her heart stopping for a moment. The question was so simple, so innocent, yet it carried a weight of hope that pierced through her sadness. She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came, her mind racing to process the unexpected gift of trust and longing in this tiny stranger's eyes. The little girl stepped closer, holding out the stuffed reindeer as though it were a peace offering, a bridge across the loneliness that had consumed Emma for so long. "I don't have a mommy," the girl said softly, "and I thought maybe you could be mine. You look like someone who would be really nice to me." Emma's throat tightened, tears welling up as she looked down at the child who had walked into her life at the exact moment she needed a miracle. She reached out tentatively, taking the girl's hand, feeling the warmth of her small fingers wrap around hers. I don't know what to say," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. The girl smiled, a bright, unwavering beam of hope. "You don't have to say anything. Just be my mom, please," she said simply, as if the decision was obvious and undeniable. In that instant, Emma realized that sometimes life's magic didn't come from perfect dates or scripted moments. Sometimes it came from the unlikeliest of sources, a small hand extended in trust, a heart open in innocence, a little voice asking for love in the simplest, purest form. And as she held the girl close, a warmth spread through her chest, chasing away the cold, the loneliness, the sting of rejection. The cafe around them faded into a blur of twinkling lights and festive sounds. And for the first time that evening, Emma felt the true spirit of Christmas, the power of love, hope, and new beginnings. She didn't know what the future would hold, but she knew that at that moment everything had changed. And as the little girl nestled against her, Emma whispered a promise to herself and to this unexpected new presence in her life, that she would never let this gift of trust go to waste. Emma's heart melted as the little girl's hand slipped into hers. Over the next days, they shared laughter, stories, and quiet moments that stitched their hearts together. Rejection faded into the past, replaced by the warmth of an unexpected bond. That Christmas, Emma realized family wasn't always planned, it was found. And as they decorated the tree together, she whispered, "Some miracles arrive when you least expect them."